How this homeless man became a millionaire. Some of the most prominent and successful people we know today have been shaped by stressful life circumstances and challenging backgrounds. Paul DeJoria, who went from being homeless to becoming a billionaire, is one of them. This self-made multimillionaire went from either sleeping in his car or sleeping on the streets of New York. DeJoria had no hopes for a better future. As a matter of fact, most people living in his predicament would ultimately believe it too. So how did it all happen that this homeless man would rise up to be one of the most influential billionaires and entrepreneurs in recent history? Well, you've come to the right place because today we'll be delving into the whole life of DeJoria, from the streets to his fine fortune in recent times. So don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more of such wealth-inspiring videos. What's more is that you might surprise at what you've learned about DeJoria as we delve closer into his life. So let's start from the very beginning. Paul DeJoria lived a life of having nothing but appreciating everything as a child, which immediately made him incredibly creative. He was nurtured by his single mother in Los Angeles, but when she could not care for him properly, he was eventually placed in foster care at the tender age of 9. He even attempted to live in his car at one time in his life while fighting to get by day to day. DeJoria, however, never gave up, not even in the most hopeless circumstances. John and his older brother started selling Christmas cards and newspapers when John was just 9 years old in an effort to provide for their family. He even joined a street gang as an aimless kid in high school, but he changed his ways after hearing from a teacher that you would never thrive in life until he gave up the dark life. DeJoria served in the U.S. Navy for 2 years after graduating from high school, stationed at sea on the U.S. Hornet. He made the decision to earn some money by selling encyclopedias, working as a janitor, and pumping gas at a nearby gas station when he attempted to enroll in college but was unable to due to financial constraints. Paul DeJoria spent more than 4 years selling encyclopedias door to door. In this employment, he was solely paid in commissions and wasn't given any leads to work with, yet he never gave up. This became a blessing in disguise for the entrepreneur since he could determine how people thought, thanks to his experience as a salesman. He said this in an interview, "I must have knocked on over 100 doors after making my first sale, and every single one of them was closed in my face." Be ready to receive numerous rejections. Be equally as eager at door 101 as you were at door 1. Never give up. Early in his 20s was when DeJoria first experienced homelessness. Upon entering his home, he discovered his 3-year-old sitting on the floor reading a note. His wife sent the note informing him that she was leaving him because she couldn't bear being a mom anymore. "With you, he will be happier. Goodbye."
And I had this little kid with me, 2.5 years old, and now I had to be mom and dad, and that was really a bummer. I had no car.
His wife had also not paid any of the bills on the flat for the previous 3 months and fled with the meager sum of money they had saved. He was then evicted from the apartment he shared with his kid. When you're this far south, there's no place to go but up. He had to be both a mom and a dad for the better part of his life, and it was pretty difficult for him to do that. He had to borrow a barely roadworthy car from a friend, which unfortunately has a broken water pump, and live in it for some time, which is how he and his child got by.
So I ended up borrowing a 1951 Cadillac with a broken water pump from someone that was very, very dear. Had put water in it every 4 hours, and that's kind of how we got going.
DeJoria began her career in the hair care industry as an entry-level employee for Rogan Laboratories. He was eventually fired from this position. However, he had bigger plans for his career and his family at the time. For a time, he also worked as a door-to-door salesman. Paul Mitchell, DeJoria's close buddy, was a famous stylist at the time. While Mitchell's hair care products were selling well, he was unable to obtain orders. So, DeJoria contacted him about starting their own company, combining his business and sales talents with Mitchell's knowledge of the hair care industry. They had even bought an investor who was willing to pay them $500,000 to start their firm, but he never showed up. "That's not going to get me down," DeJoria said even then. He and Paul Mitchell merged their resources and came up with $700. As such, Paul Mitchell Systems was formed, complete with 3 hair care products: Shampoo 1, Shampoo 2, and the conditioner. When DeJoria and Mitchell founded Paul Mitchell Systems, their first objective was simple: survival. They only wanted to live and have enough money to put a roof over their heads and eat. But they realized they had a good thing going, so they never gave up. DeJoria and Mitchell knocked on the doors of every salon they could find, showcasing their products, and they didn't stop until someone bought them. They were among the first to give a money-back guarantee on their items back then. John Paul Mitchell Systems is also proud to have been one of the first corporations to publicly oppose animal testing. All of their goods were and continue to be cruelty-free. DeJoria still remembers the moment he and Mitchell realized they had become successful. It was many years back, and all of their payments had been paid on time, and they still had $2,000 in each of their bank accounts. They had no idea how successful John Paul Mitchell Systems would become. After 9 years, John and Martin Crowley co-founded the Patron Spirits Company, a tequila company. Although his brand and products were quite expensive, the quality of the products was too good to pass on. Although it was a slow start, the company began to reel in profits as early as 2018. It was later acquired by the popular company Bacardi Limited for $5.1 billion. John Paul DeJoria is a founding partner of the House of Blues nightclub chain, as well as the founder of a dozen additional companies. DeJoria holds shares of several other businesses, including Madagascar Oil Lid, Solar Utility, Sun King Solar, Ultimate Vodka, Parrot Rum, Smoky Mountain Bison Farm LLC, Touchstone Natural Gas, and many others. As an executive producer, he works in the movie business. How did a man who basically had little formal education and a very rocky start in life come up with such a fortune? Well, DeJoria believes there are some essential facts to note as an entrepreneur or anyone trying to make a name for themselves in this world. Let's take a look at some of them. Learn to accept rejection. Rejection will happen to you loads of times over your career. The majority of the doors you knock on will close on your face. Consumers will dislike your brand, your business, or even you. But it's crucial to understand that in order to succeed, you must continue to be as self-assured and enthused on door number 101 as you were on door number 1. The rejection won't hit you as hard if you know it's going to happen. You'll be more resilient and motivated as a result. Never stop aiming to be the best. Remember that you don't want to work in the product industry. You desire to operate in the reorder sector. Therefore, put in a lot of effort to create a top-notch product that customers will buy repeatedly. You definitely have an advantage and a better likelihood of success if you think and approach your business and products in that way. Stay away from the past. Your options may be limited if you allow your faults or background to determine who you are and what you are capable of. DeJoria noted that he always keeps his future in mind. When you're feeling low, most people reflect on their past and what brought them there, and that will not help you in any way. Consider what you should do next. Don't wallow in the past, move forward. Giving back to the community is necessary. According to DeJoria, a firm cannot only consider its current bottom line if it wishes to remain in operation. A business must be dedicated to aiding people right away. He says, by aiding others, you are developing future clients and encouraging employee loyalty. Customers enjoy supporting organizations and companies that give their time to benefit others, protect the environment, and make a difference.
In the same year, John attempted to provide 400,000 meals for children.
The story of John DeJoria is genuinely remarkable. From being homeless and then moving on to own a $2 billion company is a feat that only a few people can boast of. John always believes that everything will be better in the end, and his positivity and strife are something everyone can learn from. Thank you and goodbye.